Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about Game 7 of the 2025 NBA Finals, and we can crown a champion, the first ever champion for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Man, last night it was a very entertaining game. First, what happened was in the first quarter, everything was pretty much the two teams they were exchanging baskets. And then the injury for Tyrese Halliburton, it transpired. He tore his Achilles, and from what I hear, that is at least it will at least take him 6 to 8 months to recuperate. Kevin Durant, he had the same kind of injury. And later on in the show, some big news happened to Kevin Durant over the weekend that I will get into and tell you all the future outlook for the Houston Rockets. But right now, I want to focus on last night's Game 7 and what it meant for the Thunder and for the NBA as a whole. Now, credit Thunder, best team all season, best team during the playoffs. They were just the best team all around throughout the season. They were. The Thunder, first off, I'm going to start with the player statistics for both the Pacers and the Thunder, and then I'm going to get into what this championship means for the Thunder and where the Pacers can go from here. So, Indiana Pacers starters last night: Pascal Siakam, 16 points; Aaron Naismith, 3 points; Miles Turner, 6 points; Andrew Nembhard, 15 points; Tyrese Halliburton, 9 points. He did get injured in the first quarter. Bench production: Obi Toppin, 0 points; Johnny Furphy, 0; Thomas Bryant, 0 points; Tony Bradley, 2 points; TJ McConnell, 16 points; Benedict Mathurin, 24 points; Ben Shepherd, 0 points; Quentin Jackson, 0 points. James Johnson did not play. Isaiah Jackson did not play. OKC Thunder starters: Chet Holmgren, 18 points; Jalen Williams, 20 points; Isaiah Hartenstein, 7 points; Shai Gillis Alexander, NBA MVP and Finals MVP, 29 points; Lugas Dort, 9 points; Dylan Jones, 0 points. Thunder bench production: Dylan Jones, 0 points; Ozami Ding, 0 points; Kenrich Williams, 0 points; Alex Caruso, 10 points; Aaron Wiggins, 0 points; Cason Wallace, 10 points; A.J. Mitchell, 0 points. Jalen Williams did not play. Isaiah Joe did not play. Now, before I get into depth about what happened last night in Game 7, please hit that like, share, comment, subscribe button for Key Time Sports on YouTube, and also Key City Sports on Instagram, where you will not miss any content because I have a lot of content in store. We got football season coming up. We also have NBA free agency coming up in just a matter of days. The draft is coming up this week, Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of stuff to watch. So you do not want to miss it. Now back to the game. This game had a rendition of, I'm going to say, Game 2. Now, Game 2, OKC, they had the momentum and did not give it up. OKC largest lead of this game was 20 plus points. And then when you look at the veracity of this game, you can see where the Pacers, they started struggling because they did not have another player that can take over the game outside of Tyrese Halliburton. Now, I was watching the game on TikTok last night, and I was telling a viewer that was watching the game that in order to win a championship, no matter what sport it is, You need closers. You need one player on your team that can be a closer. And this guy, he said, he was like, a team, they don't need closers. Well, I'm going to tell everybody that is watching me right now, a championship team, you always need a closer. No matter what it is. You could see it in football. Tom Brady, he had Tom. I go back to Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he wasn't always the closer on his football team, but he had closers on his football team when it comes to a tight end like Rob Gronkowski, Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman. He always had closers on the team. Patrick Mahomes has the same thing. Travis Kelsey, Isaiah Pacheco, Rasheed Rice. Well, he didn't play much last season, but Marquise Hollywood Brown, who gonna be coming back. Those are the type of players that you can depend on, and they are the closers. It's not always the main player. Now, I'm gonna go to NBA. Kobe Bryant, he was a closer in his champion when he won his championships. LeBron, he hasn't always been a closer, but he has had closers on his team. Ray Allen has been a closer. Obviously, that's the only person I got to mention when it comes to LeBron. So back to what I was saying last night. When it comes to the Pacers, even if the game was close last night, even if the last few minutes of the fourth quarter, both teams, the game was tied, who was going to take the last shot? And I asked this question on Twitter. Who was going to take the last shot? I had a lot of people saying Pascal Siakam, Andrew Nembhard, and that is the one thing that I'm talking about. You don't have a de facto player that can be your closer. That's why the Pacers had trouble trying to weather the storm and trying not to make this game a blowout. Pascal Siakam, he is an okay player, but there is some moments where he has made the game winning shot, and then there's other moments where he hasn't. Now, the term when I say closer, more times than not, the player makes a game winning shot. Kobe Bryant did that. Magic Johnson did that. Michael Jordan did that. That's what I mean by closers. Tyrese Halliburton, they had a Cinderella story. The Pacers had a Cinderella story, but Pascal Siakam, he's only made a handful of game winning shots throughout his career. So I really wouldn't call him a closer. So that's why I say going into last night's game, the Pacers didn't have any closers. Now for the X factors. Most of the X factors last night for the Pacers was non-existent. Obi Toppin was non-existent. Tony Bradley, Tony Bradley was non-existent. T.J. McConnell and Benedict Mathurin was the only two players that came off the bench and tried to hold it together for the Pacers. If it wasn't for McConnell and Mathurin, this would have been a 30-point win for the Thunder. And I'm willing to say that. I really am. And when you look at OKC's bench production, they didn't have much off the bench last night. Only two guys came off the bench and put up 10 points. This was a game where if the Pacers was at full strength, they would have won this game. Because you can look at bench production. You look at bench production, and McConnell and Mathurin, they had this game for the Pacers bench. OKC didn't do much off the bench, but it's one thing that I always go back to, and the reason why the Thunder won this game and won the championship last night was because of what I always say, everybody, turnovers. The Pacers had a severe case of turnover-litis again. Turnover-litis again because Pacers had 23 turnovers and the Thunder had 8 and the Thunder only had 8 turnovers. And if you just look at that, that's game over there. That's game right there. Because you cannot turn the ball over that much and expect to win a playoff game, let alone a championship. So all of this about, and I'm going my next take is the Tyrese Halliburton injury. But one thing I want to say before I get to that is the Pacers, the X Factors, they didn't show up at all in Game 7. They didn't. They didn't. McConnell and Mathurin was the only two people that were able to keep the Pacers afloat. But where the momentum turned in OKC's favor was the third quarter with 8 minutes left. Now, if y'all were watching, if anybody was watching, you already know what I'm going to talk about. 8 minutes left in the third quarter. The Pacers, they turned the ball over 6 times. And in the midst of that, they had a shooting drought of 7 minutes. 7 minutes. I always say you cannot have a shooting drought in a championship game. And the Pacers, they had a shooting drought for 7 minutes. And that's where the game pretty much the Thunder won the game because in a 7 minute span, the Thunder they went on a 26-7 run. 26-7 run. And going into the fourth quarter, the Pacers they only had 68 total points. 68. Now, before I get into, the Thunder, SGA did this and SGA did that. The Pacers, they were trying to neutralize SGA, but SGA took it into his own hands. Jalen Williams, he had his typical scoring punch, and let's see, Jalen Williams he had 20 points last night, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had 29. Now the Pacers they got to. I don't know if they're gonna bring everybody back, but from what I'm hearing, already it seems like they are gonna run this team back next season. But I'm not willing to do a hot take on the Pacers just yet. I believe that the Pacers they have the team to be right back in the thick of things and almost to be right back in this situation now. Can they get back to the finals? I don't believe so. The Pacers, you got Cleveland out there. You got Boston out there. You got Atlanta out there that can pretty much shake up some stuff. You got Milwaukee out there that can pretty much shake up some stuff. You got Orlando out there that can pretty much shake up some stuff. You got Miami out there that can pretty much shake up the standings going into next season. So it's not going to be a Cinderella road like it was for the Pacers this season because you got to take into account everybody everybody in the East is trying to get the Pacers blueprint, trying to have ball movement, trying to have 4 to 5 scores that can come off the bench and put up 15 to 20 points consistently a night. Now the Thunder, they already have this. They already have the blueprint. Everybody is going to use the blueprint that the Thunder won with this championship, and they're going to try to use that for this upcoming season because the season for the 2025-2026 season just started. And that leads into my next topic, the Kevin Durant trade that happened over the weekend. So, Thunder, you win the championship last night, and all of a sudden, the Houston Rockets could potentially give the Thunder some problems coming into the season. And I already see that happening. I already see that. For the West, I see the Thunder being the top team again in the West. Then you have the Rockets. the Nuggets, the Lakers, and then you have the Clippers, and then everybody else. Not to mention the Timberwolves. We don't know how the Timberwolves are going to look, but we do know that Anthony Edwards, he is going to come and bring it every day. He gonna bring it every day. The Pacers. One last thing about the Pacers, and then I'm gonna focus on the Thunder and their future outlook. One thing about the Pacers is they are a young team. They can be back in this situation, if not next year, probably a year or two after that. So the Pacers, they had a good season, one hell of a run, but they came up short. They came up short. The Thunder, it's almost like it's peaches and cream now for the Thunder. The Thunder, they are a young team. They are. They are a young team. Everybody that is on the Thunder roster, the average age of the Thunder roster is 24. 24. So the Thunder, they are a team that could be back in this situation multiple times within the next 6 to 7 years. I'm gonna just go ahead and give a 7 year window for this Thunder squad. Now, the last couple of years, this Thunder squad, they have been they have been gaining experience. This season, coming into this season, I wasn't necessarily sure about how much experience they would have to win the championship, but they proved that this is the youngest team in 50 years to win an NBA Finals championship, and the average age is 24. That is monumental to them. That is monumental and historical. Now that's a historical stat that people they need to write down on their notes or something. That's exactly what it is. Future outlook for the Thunder. SGA, he is about to get this big time contract of 5 years, 380 million. It will not go into effect until not next season, but the season after next. So the Thunder, they are a small market team. This Thunder team is going to be around for a while unless the luxury cap and the salary cap they start going over that. Now, everything is good right now, but you going to have some players that going to want to get paid for their contributions for this playoff run or these future playoff runs that they are going to have. And I'm not talking about no 25 or 30 million. I'm talking about 500 million dollars. I'm talking about that. We talking about $500 million here. That's what these contracts are coming to. And it's not just in the NBA. It's NFL, MLB, NHL, all of the big time, the four major sports leagues, they are coming with contracts of $500 million or more. There is a player that is projected to make $1 billion, have $1 billion contract in the MLB, and let that just sit right there. Just think about that. A player in the MLB is about to sign $1 billion contract sooner rather than later. $1 billion, not a $1 billion contract. Now them the kind of contracts that I'm looking for. Them the kind of contracts I want. Man, I would uh, sign $1 billion contract and be a billionaire just by off paper. Oh my goodness, now that would be something. And whoever in the MLB is eligible for $1 billion contract, congratulations, my brother. You deserve it. You deserve it and you have earned it. That's the main thing. You have earned it. Back to the Thunder. Thunder Thunder players, bench players' contributions Alex Caruso, he does not get enough credit. Alex Caruso, throughout this playoff run, he neutralized some of the best players the NBA has to offer. He neutralized Nikola Jokic. He neutralized Anthony Edwards at some points. And he also neutralized Ja Morant when they played the Grizzlies in the first round. All of that, and I do mean all of that, comes into the fact that the Thunder, throughout this season, the Thunder, they forgot about the word me. They forgot about the word me and focused on the word we when it comes to the team as a whole. To the owner, to the Thunder owner, to Sam Presti, the general manager, I got to give Sam Presti his flowers too. Because coming from an era of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, now when a team let three potential Hall of Famers go, it usually takes them about 10 to 15 years to get back to championship relevance. It does. But the Thunder has did it in record time, and that does not need to be foreshadowed. Sam Presti, I'm a just go ahead and say it. Sam Presti is a damn good general manager. He is. He is the type of general manager that people they need to they need to take into consideration his blueprint on how to build a championship team in just a matter of 6 years. Just a matter of 6 years, the Thunder have went from the basement, the doormat of the NBA to NBA champion. Now, that's a story in and of itself. And all of these players are under the age of 25. All of them. All of them are under the age of 25. This team, I want to see where the Thunder go from here. Is there a potential dynasty in the making? It might be. Can they repeat? I'm already hearing that question. Can they repeat? And another thing, the projections for the NBA champion for next season, the Thunder have the best odds to get back here next season. And also, the Thunder is projected to win the West again. But like I said, this is just, championship talk right after winning a championship. That's what I always say. Because the Thunder are the best right now, that's why they are projected. But Vegas, let me tell you, Vegas, when it comes to their calculations, they usually aren't wrong. They usually aren't wrong. So, one last thing I want to say is the NBA draft is Wednesday and Thursday of this week. The NBA the NBA 2025-2026 schedule will be released in late August. I'm not totally sure what the date will be, but the last couple of years, the NBA schedule has been released around August 22nd through the 26th. So I'm pretty much thinking about those dates where the official schedule will be released. And with that, those are my reactions to Game 7 of the 2025 NBA Finals. That is my season reflection of the 2025 NBA season. And one other thing I want to say is please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. We are also promoting this channel, Key Time Sports. We are going to be in a new time slot in the coming months. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. We will not be in the time. We will not be in the 10 a.m. time slot anymore. For all my audiences out there, we will not. We will no longer be in the 10 a.m. slot. Come, come August, come late August, we will be in the 9 a.m. slot. We will be. So in a few hours, I'm going to have a meeting about what day our time slot is going to start on, and I will give you all the information for that. But write this down, make a notation of it. We will not be in the 10 a.m. time slot anymore. This might possibly be the last time that we are in the 10 a.m. slot. We not going nowhere. We just moving to a different time slot and a different hour. It will still, well, I ain't gonna say it's gonna be the same, but it's gonna be different. It is. It's gonna be different because we what we've done over the past, well, almost 2 years on this has been great. So it's gonna be different. You're gonna have a different key time that comes in every morning. You're gonna have a much vibrant Key Time Sports. You're gonna have a much vibrant Key City Sports on Instagram. So everybody, just please like, comment, share, subscribe to Key Time Sports on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the ride continues. The ride is not going to stop because we are building something here at Key Time Sports, and we are also building something on my other show that is bound to just that is bound to blow up. We trying to get sponsorships. We trying to get Doritos sponsorships. We trying to get chicken sponsorships. We trying to get sports sponsorships. We trying to make it to the NBA stadiums and the NFL stadiums, and we are going to do that. Come on, everybody. Come on and enjoy this ride. And remember, everybody, one last thing. Remember, the key is always on time.